Did you know one of the fastest growing large functional consumer packaged goods portfolios is hiding behind a great wall of cereal? Post Holdings, the cereal giant, $6 billion a year consumer packaged goods portfolio, actually has a strong bit of business in the areas of functional food, functional beverages, and nutritional supplements. And this is housed in their active nutrition segment. So the brands that make up the active nutrition segment are the Premier Nutrition brands, which is Premier Protein, Powerbar, Joint Juice, and Supreme Protein. And then they also have Dymatize Nutrition. So in November of 2018, Post Holdings actually announced that they were planning on spinning off the active nutrition segment. They were announcing that their intentions were to have an initial public offering, so an IPO. And you might be asking yourself, like, why IPO? Why spin off the active nutrition segment? Well, Post Holdings plans on selling only about 20% of this newly formed business. So that allows them to retain majority ownership. And in terms of like active nutrition, like the segment has been growing on a compounded annual growth rate of about 30% since 2014. So huge growth rates comparable to just general consumer packaged goods. This is a potentially lucrative move for Post Holdings because they allow the active nutrition segment, the fast growing part of their portfolio, to get out of the larger portfolio. And this growth rate should be one that in the investment community, welcomes with open arms. Because as these like big CPG portfolios have a lot of different divisions, most of their legacy businesses are flat, growing, or declining at a single digits. When you have a high performing growth segment in your business that only is about 20% of your business, it doesn't get the full benefit of being on its own. So Post Holdings is planning to spin this off into an IPO. Their plan is to have this finished by the end of their fiscal year, which is September 30th. They said somewhere around that time frame or the October time frame. So we're looking at a fall IPO. And this IPO is going to give us a much cleaner look at this active nutrition portfolio. It's a very large portfolio. And within some of these categories like protein drinks or nutritional supplements, there's just not a ton of public companies that offer a bunch of data for us to look at things, to pull trends or insights from. So this is going to be another awesome data point for us to kind of pull from. Let's get into their 2019 quarter one, or technically since they do fiscal year, this will be their quarter two earnings. But I'm only going to be looking at the active nutrition segment here, so I'm not going to be looking at the larger Post Holdings portfolio. So the active nutrition segment did $216.5 million, up 6% year over year. And they were running about a 20% margin, 20% profit on this, about $44 million in profit they saw this quarter. So within the active nutrition portfolio, there are some different segments, product segments, that they break the numbers down into. They have ready to drink protein beverages. They have their sales of powders, they have nutritional bars, and then they have another section, which mostly comes out to caps and pills. So the majority of the Post Holdings active nutrition portfolio does come from the ready-to-drink protein beverages. So the biggest contributor to that section is the Premier Protein. If you guys spend any time at Costco or some of the other food, drug, mass channels, you guys know, you see them. And in this quarter, they saw protein beverages increase $18.5 million year over year, or about 13%. And they're actually saying that number could have been much higher. It actually was to make up for some issues they had about 6 months ago. So they were having some issues with capacity. They were not able to run all 7 of their flavors of their protein, the Premier Protein ready-to-drink beverages. So they had to kind of go down to 2 flavors to make sure they can meet a lot of the need at some of their bigger customers. So they did have to overcome that. They're saying at the end of this quarter, they were seeing about 80 to 85% of that come back online. So they still are kind of overcoming that. So that number could have been much bigger. If you are looking at 6-month period, so this would encompass the down quarter from last one and the positive quarter of this one, they are still up just by a few percentage points. Now, in terms of their sales of their powders, we're up 6% year over year. They saw a $1.7 million gain in their business. And they're saying this is primarily due to some merchandising additions in their club channel. The last time that I was at Costco, I did see Dymatize Protein They're also saying there was some gains in their mass channels and that they had organic growth in their e-commerce channels. So very diverse amount of growth. So good broad-based growth in terms of various sales channels. Now, nutritional bars were a struggle for Post Holdings' active nutrition segment. They're saying that business was down $9 million year over year. That's 35%. So big number there. And on the earnings call, they mentioned, a lot more competition coming into the market because of lower barriers of entry. You're having also low barriers of entry causing entrants to also fragment the market. So you have more competitors, but also fragmenting the overall market. Brands like Premier Nutrition protein bars that are going after a general lifestyle consumer. That consumer is getting fragmented into different sections, so they're not able to attract as much of those sales. And they're also saying there's just an overall higher churn, so a lot more switching, a lot more consumers that try different protein bars over the ready-to-drink business, where that has less players. And then in terms of just the other section, like I mentioned before, it was up 3%, but just about $100,000 year-over-year growth. So it's a very small piece of their business. The vast majority of their business is their ready-to-drink protein beverages. Though they had some issues with supply chain and they had some issues that they had to clean up, that was kind of the fire. That was the fire that was right in front of them. They had to fight that one first. They are still talking about some innovations that they plan on having done. Items they mentioned were using maybe alternative protein sources in their beverages, egg protein or plant proteins. I didn't really see any mentioning of keto beverage or anything like that. So I think they're sticking to just alternate protein sources at this time, not really manipulating some of the other macronutrients. In terms of their bar business, they are obviously seeing the downward trend of that and they want to overcome that. So they're saying, we're really going to look at exploring some more indulgent type of products. So maybe changing a little bit of the form, extending bars into other confectionery or other healthier for you, better for you type of protein added item. And they're looking at, kind of enhancing their flavors and flavor systems across all, nutritional supplements, bars, energy drinks, ready to drink, protein drink. Flavor systems have definitely improved over the last several years. So now great flavor is no longer just a differentiation point. It's kind of an entry fee to get into the market. So portfolios like Post Holdings, they're looking at this and saying, hey, we want to be a part of the bar business. I think there's still a lot of opportunity for us in the bar business, so we need to make some changes. So leading into the IPO in a couple of quarters, I'm going to kind of add this into the quarterly earnings breakdowns. As we get into the active nutrition part of Post Holdings spinning off, we'll have a lot better look at different things. I also probably expect some more activity that could happen with that portfolio as it's on its own. I think there's going to be more access, more transparency into that business, so you're going to be seeing more activity that comes with it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.